Hey everybody, it's Devin Francis, also known as Leonard Meltzner.
And I am the other person on this podcast.
And you're watching episode 146 of the Adventures in Odyssey Oddcast. What are we doing today, Victoria?
We're doing a book review. It's about pilgrims. It's book number 6 of the Imagination Station books. Or as I like to call them, the Not Magic Treehouse books.
Yes. What's the book called, Victoria?
Problems in Plymouth.
Yeah.
Oh, it is? Okay,
yes.
I couldn't remember what the first word was.
Yeah. Problems
I didn't want to look.
Pilgrims Plymouth Progress.
What did you think of the historical side of this episode, Devin? Real quick comments.
There were real people in it, because I recognize names from stepping stones.
I recognize names from Disney's Pocahontas, the most accurate portrayal of everything that the Native Americans and First Nations went through.
Written by Marion Herring and Marshall Younger, the book. Yeah, so what happens in this story?
I was gonna say Jack and Annie, but like honestly,
yeah,
say it. My brain, Patrick and Beth, go into the Imagination Station again, and they're looking for that one guy. What's his name?
Hugh.
Hugh. They're looking for Hugh because he has that ring, and they
not
need the ring
Hughes,
back.
but Hugh.
And then they like find him immediately,
A very
and then they
colorful
lose
fellow.
him immediately. And then they
and then he doesn't show up for like the rest of the book.
Yeah, he shows up like for the last 3 pages, basically.
He was surprisingly irrelevant.
And I run into this boy who I actually kind of liked his character. He's not as good as James, but he was alright. And then he was like captured by First Nations though, because everyone was being jerks and stuff. And then they had issues, and then they did some trading, and then some First Nations people got sick, and then they helped them, and then Squanto was there, and then Beth and Patrick were like, oh, it's Hugh, and then they're
like, we must look for everyone in the tribe whose name is you.
They instantly like went back to the like Middle Ages, and then Hugh instantly got captured, and it was just like 2 minutes after the book that took place there. But like I wasn't mad because I got to see James again, and then Beth and Patrick went back to Wits End, and they're like, wait, here's your ring. I guess our adventures are done here forever. And then Wit's like, yeah, you guys are done. And then there were no more books.
Yeah. We're done. We did the whole series.
We did the whole thing. We did it.
We did it.
We did it.
Good job.
No, and then they're like, let's go on more adventures. We're not dead yet. So, like, let's do this thing again. And
I think it's more like, Wit's like,
tomorrow.
hey, you guys aren't dead yet. Go on more adventures.
I mean, he was like, I thought you'd say that. Come back tomorrow. And I was like, no, thank you.
There's a very condensed time span going on here. In all frames of reference, apparently.
Like every single day. Where are their guardians? Who's looking after them?
They're like with their grandparents, right?
Yeah. Why aren't their grandparents doing a better job of... How boring are their grandparents that they're trying to get themselves killed every day?
That they're going to Wits End every day, like every kid in Odyssey?
Yeah, I know, but they're like almost getting killed every day, so there must be something their grandparents are doing wrong.
Yeah, I like... on the last day of the summer, they're going to be getting, like, a soda at the fountain. And some people will be like, oh, who are you? And they'll be like, oh, yeah, we've been at Wits End every day all summer. And everyone else is going to be like, I've literally never seen you before. You've stayed in one room the entire summer.
And it's going to be like The Visit by M. Night Shyamalan. It's going to turn out that, like, they actually weren't staying with their real grandparents. They were, like, evil grandparents that were going to kill them.
Was that an M. Night Shyamalan film?
Yeah.
The one that came out, like, a year or two ago?
Yeah.
Oh.
But they never got the chance because Beth and Patrick were never at home. So it's like, we can't kill them if they're not here.
Ah, what a disturbing idea.
What?
That movie.
Yeah.
It's just like, weren't they
But, like,
cannibals?
No, they're not.
Okay,
They're just crazy.
yeah, scary. People trust old people. So
Don't trust old people.
don't do it.
That's
how they get you.
That's how they get you.
They get you with their dentures.
No, apparently that's why,
they throw
like,
mothballs under your feet and then you trip on the floor.
apparently that's why, like, old people are used in movies. I found out recently, and clowns, because they're supposed to be innocent, but then they get you or something. What?
I thought you meant like they use old people because people are distrustful of them.
No, it's the opposite.
I feel unsettled.
I feel shook to my core when I see my grandmother knit socks for me.
There's a touch of senility in the air. Senility. So, we have a prologue, as we usually do. I like the fourth sentence in it about the imagination station. It's a lot like a time machine. I was like, yeah, okay. So, are you saying it isn't a time machine explicitly then? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, they're like, they wouldn't commit to one or the other, and I was getting mad. I made a meme for this episode. Devin, do you still have it?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, I deleted it.
Why?
Because I thought I gave you a copy.
Yeah, you were like, hey, look at this. I assumed you would keep it. You were very proud of it.
I was. Oh, I have to spend 10 years finding it now.
I'm sure it's somewhere in Skype.
How dare you? How dare you not download it? I spent like a good solid
I was quite busy as you were trying to send me memes about the Imagination Station books, Victoria. I'm sorry. So Wit is Carmen Sandiegoing Hugh through time. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to get him. Send him back to Lord Darkthorn. And I will never get over the fact that Lord Darkthorn isn't an antagonist. It's the best twist the series will ever be able to pull on me. So Wit is trying to track Hugh somewhere in time. I was like, this confusing and nonsensical situation is highly and sadly reminiscent of Push the Red Button, trying to track Lord Gargantuan Foulsplane in the Imagination Station through time.
I can't find my meme, Devin.
My meme! I abandoned my meme!
I lost it, Devin.
Playing God of War, Miles keeps on making that joke about God of War explicitly in reference to Mabim Bam. It makes me happy. So yeah, don't you think so, Victoria? This whole idea of like, oh, here's a fictional character in the Imagination Station running through time. I have to like track him down through time so we can go into time and find him. I'm like, this is Push the Red Button. That's what this is.
Did you mean Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego?
I already said Carmen Sandiego.
Did you mean Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego?
Obviously, it's the best Carmen Sandiego game.
It is. You get to meet Da Vinci.
You
get to dab with Da Vinci.
And mosh with Mozart.
Yes.
It is Beethoven, not Mozart, admittedly.
That's actually the tagline on the back of the game. That's the description.
It was very forward-thinking for its time.
Oh, get it? It was ahead of its time because it's a time travel game.
Yes, thank you, Victoria.
Yeah,
so,
welcome.
The children, logically, when it's like, I'm tracking Hugh through time, and the kids very logically are like, why can't the Imagination Station understand that Hugh isn't you and let you use the machine? This is stupid and your programming is stupid.
And it's like, shut up. That's the premise for the books.
It's like, well, all computers have glitches. I'm like, bruh, you're a world-renowned programmer. Fix the glitches. This is your system.
Literally your job.
You invented the OS. Just reprogram it. There's literally no rush unless you, John Avery Whittaker, are worried that Hugh is actually going to change history.
Hey Deb, what about that one Mabim Bam question from recently? Except for with Wit, like, what if in the Imagination Station Part 1, it was portable and Wit was walking across the Bible room to show it off to Diggory, and he tripped and dropped it.
What are you
With the
talking
iPhone
about?
question. Like, what if
That,
we-
yeah. Well, the world would have been safer because these books wouldn't exist.
It's true.
Um,
These books are really bad.
so on the topic of like finding hue and time and all this stuff, like I'm starting to more and more genuinely believe over time that the most reasonable and foolproof explanation for these books is that Wit is pulling the long con on these kids to create like a long form, immersive, imaginative experience, bringing history to life in an even fuller way than ever before. Like it actually does make sense. If so,
Or, I have two other theories.
wait.
But once you finish.
If he is doing this, it is extremely irresponsible of him to put the anxiety on these kids' shoulders that the fate of history lies in their hands. Clearly, they explicitly don't know this isn't a time machine because they're coming out and saying, like, they're saying out loud, we can't take the chance that this will actually change the course of history. I'm just picturing every night, they haven't slept in like a week since the first adventure. They've been so scared that they're going to destroy the planet. Wit has no remorse.
And Wit's like tucking himself into bed at night, and he has like this huge grin on his face, and he's just like, man, they must be having the time of their lives. And they're just crying themselves to sleep. I have two theories.
Okay.
One is that it's a prank. It's just a giant prank Wit's pulling on them, and he's messing with them. Two,
Similar to mine.
Wit wants to be a film director. No, yours is like... He's planning on...
Well, yeah, but...
He thinks they enjoy it, and this he's just torturing them.
Well, no, but I'm saying it's similar in that I'm saying Wit knows that this is all real and nonsense, and he's just lying to them.
Yeah. Okay, then we agree on that. My other theory is Wit's actually been filming this, and like 24/7 live stream, and he's actually been selling tickets to like everyone, and they're just watching it like on a giant projector they got in the little theater.
He has like 8 million Twitch subscribers. His bits are just flowing.
Oh yeah, my other theory is that this is actually time travel, and the reason Hugh is recognized as Wit is because Hugh is Wit.
He is. That's the timeline. It goes Jay, and then Wit, and then Jack, and then all the other characters in Odyssey. And then final form becomes Hugh.
Yeah.
And that's how he knows how to outsmart Wit, because he was on the other side of that in the past.
It's just like in Doctor Who, whenever like crazy things are happening, and then it's just like, oh no, your future self did this. You've done this. Yeah. And you're like...
Very homestuck.
Yeah. So, yeah, Wit is a Time Lord and a mob boss. But isn't the Doctor also a mob boss?
So,
when's Wit gonna be a woman?
That's what I've been saying. Especially because the current Doctor's name is literally Whittaker.
Oh wait, Wit's Jack, isn't he? I was gonna say, what if Wit becomes Joanne at some point? But...
Well, yes, Wit also becomes Joanne.
Yeah.
By which I mean Jay also becomes Joanne. Yeah.
He's his own best friend and he marries himself. You know what?
Victoria, why do you think Jack and Joanne's names both start with J's?
Oh, that's true. But you know what is gonna happen? What's gonna get to the end of his Time Lord life? No, you never do with me, and I never do with you. But what's gonna get to the end of his Time Lord life, and he's gonna look back on it in his giant room full of scrapbooks, and he's gonna realize that he became every single person who's ever lived in Odyssey, and everyone surrounding him was just different versions of himself. And then he realizes that this is just Kingdom Hearts.
It really is very tragic. It's like that one...
It'd be so sad. It'd be like Truman Show, but everyone is Truman.
It's like there's this theory that there's only one proton in the universe, and it just keeps on traveling through time and being every different proton, like as it goes back and forth through time.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that's an actual, like, theory of theoretical physics, and that's what this is with Wit. So they go back in time.
It's a sad little proton.
They go back in time to the 1600s to the East Coast. And there's all these Native Americans there, and they're talking, and the kids are like, I don't know what they're saying. And I just really appreciate this like double standard that the kids can go back to ancient Israel in the previous book and communicate fine with everyone, but then they meet some Native Americans and suddenly no one speaks the language. I'm not surprised whatsoever.
Maybe it's like the imagination station is like, well, there's no one here who speaks English, so I need to translate everything.
Yeah, but
and
there
then
was
it was
no
like when there's at least one person that speaks English, is like, nah, man, you're on your own. There's a translator here.
At the beginning of there was no one who spoke English there.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they could have had like a magical grandmother Willow moment where the leaves blow through the compass and then suddenly everyone can speak the same language.
Listen to your heart, you will understand. And it's like, and then they all start talking in the same language. And then they're like, this is so strange, but we're also never going to mention that this is strange ever again.
Except,
you know what's great?
Except what happened?
Pocahontas speaks English for the rest of the movie when she's around John Smith.
Yep.
And she totally would have at the ending, in like the end climax
when
scene.
she saves him from getting bashed.
Yeah, and like no one ever comments on it. Her dad's never like, wait, why can you speak this language?
She could have been speaking in tongues and everyone could understand her in different languages.
Oh man, she's so talented.
She was. That's the magic of leaves and compasses. It's the Holy Spirit. That's who Grandmother Willow was all along.
I had magical leaf compasses.
You do, Victoria. We're Pentecostals.
Wait, what does that mean?
Because the Holy Spirit was the one who gave the gift of tongues. I wasn't saying that we smoke weed.
I did not think at any point that is what you were saying.
Well, I didn't until you questioned it, and then I was saying we're Pentecostals, we have magical leaves, and I was like, I should clarify. Yeah, so the kid, what's his face, the third
John?
or the second or whatever, sure.
John
Billington,
John.
probably. Yeah, that sounds right.
His name was John Fancy Boy.
Yes.
And he was a fancy boy.
The 8th.
He liked corn, and he was kidnapped. And there's literally nothing else interesting about him. He also has a father, but many do.
Many.
That's his description in the Adventures in Odyssey guide I memorized.
The list of all one-shot characters from spin-off novels.
Yeah, and then says John Fancy Boy, and it gives his
That's not a very popular chapter in the guide. So, yeah, they're in the village, and he's like, yeah, I got taken, but I'll get rescued soon. And then a boat comes, and it's full of Englishmen who are all carrying guns coming towards the shore. And Beth says, oh no, they're going to be attacked. Not the natives, but the people in the boat who are coming towards them with guns.
No, I think she was talking about the natives.
No, she said, because the Englishmen were coming first. They were the first ones to show up. They're like, they're coming, and they all have guns. And so the natives rushed towards the shore with bows and arrows. And Beth said, oh no, the Englishmen are going to be attacked. And I was like, they're the invading force. They're the ones coming here first with guns into their home.
I don't know much about
what happened. Why am I not surprised by anything happening here? I wish
first Thanksgiving, but I just read the entire thing, and every time something happened, I was like, yeah, that's probably not what really happened.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I was trying to figure out what Hugh was getting at here, because the kids are like, oh, maybe that was Hugh. Maybe that was Hugh. And it's like, oh, I think he's like attacking the Englishmen, or is he attacking the natives? Now they're attacking each other. I was like, at this point, I can't even tell what Hugh's goal is anymore. The man is full-on chaotic evil now.
No, he pretty much is. And
or
then at the end,
neutral, maybe.
Every single time something happened, Patrick was like, was that Hugh? And then he was just like, oh my gosh, the guns! And he runs off, and Beth is like...
Okay, now
and then follows him.
Now I have a meme to make for later, and I'll put it up on screen now, and I'll show it to you later, because it's not made.
But I need to remake my meme.
I feel so they're like, okay, we're gonna have a feast now, and everyone's doing their gun shows and marches and target practice and cooking food. And I was like, I really feel the need to insert Donna and Mary Barkley's commentary from Thanksgiving at Home about like all the women going cooking off while the men go off and play with their guns.
Speaking of Donna, before I forget, have you watched the new DuckTales?
No.
Okay,
I was watching Westworld last night.
Spoilers, Magica's in it. The entire time I was listening to the episode, 'cause she talks a lot, I was like, I recognize this voice. Who is this voice? And I looked it up, and it was Catherine Tate. And I was like, Catherine Tate and David Tennant are arch enemies in this show.
I thought you were going to say it was Donna Barkley.
No.
But
I just wanted to tell you before I forgot. It has nothing to do with anything.
Well, it does. It is Donna.
It's a Donna. It's a different Donna.
It's still Donna.
It's my best friend, Donna.
So they give Hugh the wrong ring to trick him, and he falls for it. He mixed up the two rings, and I was like, how on earth could Hugh mix up those two rings? One of them is very small, and the book gives pictures of both of them in this book so that we can remember
they look
that there's no way Hugh should be able to mix them up. One is a very small, discreet ring with a knight's helmet engraved on a flat face. The other
one has like a box on it, like all these rivets.
Is
and
the
stuff.
biggest, squarest, pearliest, gaudiest thing ever created by mankind.
I was gonna say it was pretty gaudy, but then you beat me to it.
It's so ostentatious. The fact that Hugh was able to mix them up makes
Devin,
me think...
you should show pictures of the rings.
Yeah. The fact that Hugh was able to mix these up makes me think that he may actually be legally blind this entire time, and no one's figured it out until now.
That'd be like... No, that plot twist would be too good for these books.
What?
That he's blind.
That would be great. So he puts Albert's ring on, and then the imagination station whips him back to Albert's time. So I'm like, wait. So putting on Albert's ring makes it think that you're Albert? Why can't Wit come up with a better biometric system than jewelry? Like,
can you imagine what will happen if people don't have rings?
Yeah.
Do they just not exist?
No, like, what other kinds of jewelry will be acceptable forms of personal identification in the eyes of the imagination station?
Can you imagine if Albert only, like, didn't have any jewelry except for a nose piercing, and then he would have to pierce his nose?
Oh.
Now, could you imagine if, like, Wit had a ring and Albert had a nose piercing, and then Wit had to get a nose piercing, Albert got the ring, and then Beth and Patrick had to forcibly pierce Hugh's nose.
I like the idea that a nose piercing couldn't be put on any other part of the body than a nose.
No, just the nose.
Like, you know what I just realized though, Victoria, and it blows my mind? This actually fits into canon because this is the same technology that the transmuter uses to work. You wear someone's shoes and then you get transported into their life.
That is not at all how that works.
That's exactly what it is, Victoria. You can't deny it.
Devin,
it all fits.
If you're right, do you know what that means?
Deepest lore, Victoria. Deepest lore.
If you're right, though, do you know what that means for larger implications?
The transmuter was relevant beyond one episode?
Not only that, but this series canonically would be inspired by Malachi. Which kills me on so many levels.
Malachi was cast out of heaven for the transgression. Oh, man.
God was like, Malachi, what have you done? You did the negative inspiration. I told you to do the positive inspiration.
I thought what Lucifer did was bad, but this is unforgivable.
You accidentally leached away his creativity instead of giving him more.
Oh, man. So, yeah, I guess that's the end of Hugh's story.
It was a weak ending. There's this series that, believe it or not, I love, and it's called The Prydain Chronicles, and it has terrible climaxes in each book one of them is only a paragraph long, and it was war, and it basically amounted to the people yelling, "The war's starting!" One guy just charging a cauldron and diving head on first in, like, head on in first, whatever, head first. I can't. It breaks my brain with how bad it is, the end fight scenes. And then all of one of the armies just, like, dies and falls on the ground. And that's the entire ending battle that's been built up for, like, hundreds of pages. And this was, like, worse than that.
Thank you, Lloyd Alexander.
How is the Black Cauldron one of my favorite Disney movies?
I know, it's like that's the one that they chose to make into a Disney movie too. No, I mean the most first forgettable full-length Disney movie, animated Disney movie.
The Black Cauldron is one of my favorite Disney movies. The end climax fight scenes in that movie are amazing. It's like such an improvement over the end fight scenes in the book. And the thing is, like, with the Black Cauldron, they combine like a couple of the books, but it's mainly just the first one. Pretty much just the first one. And then, like, they changed villains. Because the Horned King is the main villain and not, like, the villain of the first book or whatever, or something like that. But, like, other than that, it's pretty much just mainly the first book. And the first book's not even called The Black Cauldron. That's the name of the second book.
Yeah,
because the Black Cauldron doesn't appear until the second book. And yeah, it's also Gurgi's, like...
Who doesn't love them some Gurgi?
I love Gurgi so much. He's a good boy.
So
you read the books and you find out he's, like, actually in his 40s or something like that, and he's, like, really old, and he's just really furry, and he's not, like, a cute little cuddly creature, and you're like, oh, that's alarming.
I believe I've talked about before how... What's it? Oh, wait, no, I was thinking of something else. Never mind. Let's get back to the thing. So, Hugh, he's, dead or whatever, who cares? I really did not think he would go down that easily. Like you said, it was basically like a paragraph as well.
Yeah, it was like a couple pages, but it was basically just Beth and Patrick being like, hey, look behind you, and he was like, what's behind me? And then they slipped a ring on his finger, and then he went back, and then he immediately got captured. It wasn't even like he like got back to the Middle Ages and there was like a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
He like got there and he was like, I'm in the Middle Ages, and then they just immediately arrested him. And he just stood there.
He appeared and the others were like,
what are you doing?
Handcuffs?
They were like, it's you, grab him. And then he just immediately got cuffed and he was like, oh, you foiled me. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is this?
So I guess then the books are in arcs of 3 after all, not 4. And what was going on was, so the first 3 books were the arc of finding treasures for the notes, and then the next 3 books were the arc of learning why and dealing with Hugh. And now the next book is Secret of the Prince's Tomb in Ancient Egypt, and the description in this book for the next one suggests that the kids will discover some inciting secret that will set off the next arc, I guess, or whatever.
Okay. First off,
yes,
like, you said they learn why in this saga, this little mini arc. I still have so many questions that have why in them, and I feel like none of them were answered.
Yeah, but they learned why they were looking for treasures.
Why were they looking for treasures?
Because Hugh was stealing the artifacts from Lord Darkthorn, and he was going to pin it on Albert. And Albert's bright idea was, instead of trying to get the treasures back from Hugh, I will enlist kids from the future.
Yeah, but why would he
steal them from?
There's still so many why questions. This
to
series
steal
is
them
so
from
dumb.
It's like, I could get these back from Hugh who took them. I could expose him, or I could enlist tiny children from way in the future to time travel way into the past and steal the past versions of these same artifacts from past in their own timelines and bring them here and create a paradox. Brilliant.
Okay, can I just say, I hate this book series for so many reasons. So, I don't even know where to begin. maybe with the boring characters I don't care about, or the fact that like none of the Odyssey characters, the one Odyssey character, arguably two if you want to count the Imagination Station as a character, are in
Oh,
character.
please,
3,
Victoria. The
nothing makes
Imagination
sense.
Station is a
4,
real character
that ring
in this
is
series.
no, wait. That ring is a bad design. The rings look dumb. 5, the fact that the ring disappears and appears depending on whether it is in the Imagination Station. Is any of this I'm saying actually a real thing I read, or did I just have a very bad fever dream that somehow you had to, because you are a sick person who inceptioned it into my mind because you hate me now.
You know what?
I would not put that past you.
You know what I picture it like?
Terrible person. No, wait. Lord Darkthorn is the worst name ever. It is the worst name. Not only, like, I will give them...
It was the best red herring in the history of literature.
No, yes, it is a terrible name. But, like, I was gonna say maybe they should get a point for the fact that, like, Lord Darkthorn actually ended up being a good guy, and they were like, they tricked us with that. But it's dumb either way. It's just bad. No one should be named that. I don't care if it's like, oh, but he was actually a good guy though, we were subverting it. He shouldn't be named that in the first place. I don't care if they don't have name changes back then. They should get name changes. It's so dumb. And also, there's only one good book in this series. It is the Telemachus one. And I hate that the episode is so close to it because it doesn't deserve to exist in the same thing. Everything's so bad other than the Telemachus one. That one was actually pretty good. But, like, other than that, James is amazing. Everything else sucks. And, like, Beth and Patrick are boring. Every single book is the same thing. I'm gonna lose my voice because of this.
You need to turn down your mic, and this is why.
Nah. Anyway, the every single book starts the same. They're scared of using commas, and all the sentences are really short and dumb. Like, Wit lives in Odyssey. Odyssey has shops. One of the shops is Wit's End. Wit's End has the Imagination Station.
It's not even exaggeration.
The Imagination Station is a time machine. And then I throw my laptop out the window and I yell,
it's like a time machine.
It's like a time machine. And by that we mean we're never going to explain anything, and it's not
That's
a time machine.
That's our plausible deniability. We are now legally entitled to do whatever we want with our IP.
Hey. Did you guys know that we kind of might have inspired this by the Magic Treehouse Chronicles? Can you tell? Remember that one, like, freaking beginning of one of the books where it's just like, I love this more than the Imagination or the Magic Treehouse Chronicles? It's like, no, you don't, you liar. How much were you paid to say this, you small 6-year-old child? They brainwashed you. Don't listen to it.
No, and it was like, I like these more because the other ones don't talk about Jesus. And I was like, duh.
Devin, don't even get me started on how Dwayne The Rock Johnson's cameo. He's too good for this.
I'm glad
series.
you remember that.
Yeah. And
that was one of the first Photoshops I ever made for this channel.
Yeah, put it back in. I want to see it again.
Yeah, there it is.
It's so good. And anyway, I don't have enough time to talk about all the reasons I hate these books. At least they are short. They're not short enough.
They're very short.
Also the art is nice. And that is the end of my rant.
If we replaced Gary Locke's art with this art, I would be very happy, personally.
I would be very happy also. I really love this art style. I actually want that to happen.
I was going to say, because you were criticizing the whole, like, the ring, in and out thing.
It's so dumb. Are you going to defend it?
No, I was just picturing, like, Blackguard's Revenge, when he's like, Aubrey, come into the Imagination Station. And I'm picturing he was, like, physically visible inside the station, but he, like, tried to come out. When he comes, it, like, disappears, but then, like, you can, like, see, like, the, like, severed, like, cross-section of his arms and torso when he tries to leave the station.
Or can you imagine it's like a wall, an invisible wall, and he keeps on banging into the wall? He's like, ah, yes, sovereign. He's like, has his hands behind his back. He looks like very dignified. And he takes a couple steps forward and he just like smacks into the wall.
He breaks his digital nose.
Oh, that'd be so good to watch.
If he hit his fingers first, he could have broken his digits. So, final thoughts on the book.
This isn't the worst one in the series. It's still pretty bad, but I don't think it's the worst one. I really disliked the last one a lot. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I was reading it in like an ebook form. This time I was reading it in like a PDF, so there were only technically 36 pages because everything was so tiny.
Obviously, when we knew that this was the topic they were going to be handling, we're expecting a lot of unintentional racism to occur. I'm gonna stay salty about the fact that the station will translate other languages for you, unless you're Native American. Apparently, out of all the places that they've been so far in history, go to China. We can talk it. Meet Marco Polo. We can speak Italian. Go to ancient Israel. Yeah, we got that down. Go to ancient Rome. Oh yeah, we speak Latin. Hey, what's up, Telemachus? Go to early Americans. Yeah, I don't know what you're saying. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I don't speak French.
Yeah. I at least appreciated that they were consistent in like using Native American and not Indians throughout the whole book, unless it was the people who were in that time, which, that's a pretty low bar to set, but...
Hey, Devin, look, it's my favorite Yuri on Ice song.
Favorite what? Oh, yeah.
It's my favorite Yuri on Ice song.
It is. It's so good. That's why there was the opening ceremonies of the Grand Prix finals.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, it was short, as always. Hugh basically wasn't in it, and then had the most anticlimactic defeat of anyone ever. It was worse than Maleficent and Pete in terms of, anticlimax villain.
Actually, Maleficent has more, because at least you get to fight Maleficent, and that goes on for a couple minutes. You want, a huge build-up and no payoff? Read the last Prydain Chronicles book.
I did, not 20 years ago,
no,
but
15
years ago.
I don't think he's the Horn King. He's the Horn King's the villain at the beginning, but he's a different guy. And they're
I think it is still the Horn King.
No, it's not the Horn King. There's someone who the Horn King works for. But,
Lord Darkthorn.
Yeah, it's Lord Darkthorn. But, they build him up for 5 books, and they, charge his castle, and then they, and then at one point, Elanwee's aunt runs out, and she has, a snake, and it's, trying to bite her, and she's holding it, and she's like, rah, it's a snake! And they've been, charging a castle. It's been going on for so long. And then no one knew where she was. She just runs into, the throne room where they are, and she's, wrestling a snake, and everyone's like, what the heck? Where were you? And then all of a sudden the snake jumps out of, or it bites her, and she's like, rah, no, and she falls on the ground. And the snake jumps up, and it starts going towards Taran, and then Taran just cuts it in half with his sword, and it falls on the ground dead, and then all the enemies die all at the same time. And they're like, you just defeated the evil king. And
that's what Moses basically did, though, right? Or St. Patrick, one of the two.
Yeah, you mean the part when Ramesses turned into a snake and then Moses cut him in half with his sword.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Army of the undead.
I'm talking about after they left Egypt, the poisoning thing and the serpent on the staff. The bronze serpent.
Or with St. Patrick, you were talking about how that 4-leaf clover turned into a snake and then
it ate the other snakes and turned back into 4-leaf clover, yeah.
He cut it in half. And
then it's a 2-leaf clover. Magic!
That's why we have 3-leaf clovers.
And that's why they exist.
That's why they exist. The deepest lore.
Yeah, I'm going to give this book...
Don't give it a good mark. This was the ending of an arc, remember?
That's true. It's getting a 1.2 out of 5.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. I've already gone into detail about why I don't like. Also, he was boring and uninteresting, and he doesn't really have a personality.
He at least
He's
had
a flat
plot
character.
relevance in the last book. He
He's
was
only
doing
there for like 3 pages in the last book.
No, in the last book, he was like, he kidnapped Beth, and then there was like...
Oh, I thought you were talking about this one.
No, in the last book, he like kidnapped Beth, and they had to make these codes, and then he created a trebuchet and was like teaching technology to the Philistines.
But you would think that they would save all of his like actually being villainous for the last book in the arc.
You'd think, but I guess they burned themselves out, so...
So like we did literally everything we could think of to do with a villain character. We had them build catapults, mess with time. Now we're just gonna have them stand by a barn, jump off a cliff, and then get captured.
He's like the villain in the first animated movie. When the going gets tough, the tough pull a lever and fall into their own trapdoor in the floor.
At least Hugh didn't get eaten by a crocodile.
That we know of. We don't know what Lord Darkthorn did to him.
That's true.
I really hope Lord Darkthorn turns out to be the big bad of the series after all.
Honestly, that'd be better than anything else that's happened so far.
Okay, well, what is your rating?
Do you think that Hugh's ever going to come back? He's going to be like a reoccurring villain.
I doubt it severely.
Do you think he's going to go through that trope where like he was once a villain, but now he's our friend?
He's going to
like
become like Peridot and Zuko.
He's going to become like Peridot, Zuko, and Vegeta all in one, which means he's also going to have to marry Wit.
They're going to travel through time, and it's going to be like, hi, we're 2 nonchalant kids under the age of 10, and this is our friend, the 45-year-old man.
And he's like, hi, Hugh here.
Don't worry, Victoria, he'll be much smaller once they take away his limb enhancers.
Is it bad that, like, if we were writing this, I would now want Hugh to come back and be like this?
That's why we're not writing it, because we would make it much better than it deserves to be.
We would make it not actually time travel. Sorry, maybe time travel.
Like time travel.
We're not sure.
We are legally not allowed to tell you. So, what was your rating? Did you give a number?
I agreed with yours.
Okay. So, what are we doing next time, Victoria?
The episodes? Yeah, so we are gonna do the, May? Yeah. May OAC episode of the month, which is called Mean Streaks, and A Time for Action Part 1 from album 47. Wait, 46.
40? Yes. 46,
46
finale.
Yeah.
See. So, that's all for now. Until then, thank you for joining us on our side of the YouTube. I've been Devin Francis, also known as Leonard Meltzner.
And I think this is actually the shortest book review we've done.
Probably not. But
this was the least painful of all the book reviews we've had to do, in my opinion.
Sure. Goodbye.